now it's time to get into the next season. We're going to be discussing the Masters of the Arcane. Season dropped June 3rd. That was yesterday, 2025. Our card that comes with the season pass. Evan Bevins, number one, thank you for doing the work. I know I told you earlier, you did the work on this document. When I looked and sent you that picture yesterday, what was going through my mind was like, I've got to write all this crap out. And then you took it upon yourself and wrote everything down here for the multitude of cards that are really getting thrown into this season. When you look at the cards and then the cards that they create and add all those cards up, you're talking 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 16, 18 cards. If you're counting all the skill cards that are going to be created based off of these people.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. Merlin, 2 cost, 3 power. At the start of each turn, add an incantation to your hand. Let me give you the incantations as such. Polymorph, 1 cost, no power. On reveal, transform your lowest power card here into one that costs 1 more. Once and future, 1 cost, 0 power. On reveal, shuffle your lowest power card here into your deck and get +2 energy next turn. And then finally, Omniversal Presence. For 1 cost, you get to replace this location with a new one and give Merlin +2 power. So, Agamotto brought to us skill cards. Here we have Merlin, 2 cost, 3 power. These skill cards, we're adding more of those into the game. They can affect it, but they're not staying out there and doing much with lanes, which I'm okay with. The other thing that I like about this card is the fact that it's adding an incantation to your hand at the start of each turn. So you get them out there turn 2. By turn 3, 4, 5, you should have all 3 incantations in your hand if need be.
And it keeps going.
Turn 6, turn 7?
Because I've seen them have multiple versions of the same incantation. I've seen them use it multiple times. It did not spring for the season pass, but I have had it used. I'm like, did they get a card or a location that copied it? And I don't think so, because it just says at the beginning of the turn, add an incantation to your hand. So you play them on turn 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you get another one on 6. I'm pretty sure.
I would imagine that makes sense.
If I'm wrong, it will be the first time we've ever been wrong about a mechanic or cards.
That's the truth.
We've got a little bit of leeway there.
I love the fact that they're 1 cost. You can build them up in your hand, and if you can get more of them in your hand, it's kind of nice. You can just throw them out there and boom, boom, boom. Skill set or skill cards are going to be impacting other cards as well. We're going to have cards that have abilities that depend upon these types of cards being played. Yeah, I'm okay.
Just be careful that you don't get it before you have a lot of cards that have skill cards. Otherwise, it's a bit disappointing.
That's true. I love the 1 cost of Merlin. He gets out there pretty early, and you can use this. It doesn't seem like it's going to be much of a big impact, but I imagine there's going to be situations where it may possibly turn a game or 2.
Yeah, I don't know that I've gone like curse you, Merlin, and your spells, but I have seen it. The polymorph is basically like a smaller scale Cersei.
Right.
So yeah, I had one where the Omniversal Presence changed the location and ended up swinging that location to my opponent.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, there's a bit of chaos involved in this magic, that's for sure. All right, any other thoughts on that before we move to the next one?
No, he's definitely not on the level of Agamotto. I kind of felt like 2-3 was a little cheap, but then again, if you're getting 1 incantation per turn, you want to get him out there earlier. If you had him as a 4 cost, wouldn't really do much.
Yeah. All right, Morgan Le Fay, 4 cost, 7 power. On reveal, return all your discarded and destroyed cards to hand with +3 power. So immediately you get some no fun going, and you get Carnage out there, and then get your no fun cards back, and then lay them out there again. And this time they're a little bit more powerful. If that's, but again, it's Morgan Le Fay. You got to get her out there. That's turn 4, turn 5. I don't know how much impact your no funners are going to do. Like if it's just, Yondu and
throw Misery out there, wipe him out again, and then put Null in.
Yeah, I like it.
I would like to try a deck with her, but I have not built up my tokens.
I hear you. I've been distancing myself from Destroy for a while. If I end up with her accidentally, like because of an Airship deck, I'm going to complain because there won't be much she can do other than just be a 4/7.
Even without power, she's still better than Ben Grimm.
No, poor Benjamin. Moving on.
At first, I was like, that's awfully powerful, but yeah, you're getting them +3 power. I mean, especially if you're using a lower power deck, she could do some damage. I've only seen her once or twice so far, but it hadn't been out that long. So that's definitely one that I would like to get.
Well, remember, she's coming back to your hand too, so you got to send them out there again.
Yeah.
Like, getting them +3 is nice for sure, but that's kind of like, depending on how many cards you can get destroyed. Oh my goodness. Could you imagine the rocks that you could get?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That would be fun.
It would be good in a deck with her is a Collector.
Collector would be nice. She's a 4/7. I was thinking 3 power rocks. It'd be nice to have her in a Cerebro deck, but you got to get her down to a 3 power, which, Valkyrie's the only, and hoping you draw Morgan Le Fay and Valkyrie.
Or Bass. Or Agent Venom.
Bass. Yep. Good point. Fair point. Okay.
Next deck with all 3 of them yet.
Didn't Agent Venom make us mad because he's a 5 power?
Yeah, that's why I dropped him to the bottom of the tiers for season pass cards.
Bass will take care of that, but we got to get Bass. We got to get, you got to draw Bass. You got to have Agent Venom in your hand. Okay.
That's why I just skipped Cerebro and went straight to cards that I don't mind going to 3 power.
Perfect. Nicholas Scratch, 1 cost, 2 power after you play a skill, +1 power. So hand in hand with Merlin here. Could you imagine you get Nicholas Scratch out there and then turn 6 rolls around and you drop 4 skill cards? He's going to go up to a 1/6. He's going to get 6 power in 1 turn. He goes up to a 6 power, and then whatever happens with Merlin, which Merlin's skill cards are going to make an impact too. So anyway, Nicholas Scratch and Merlin, like I said, we're going to have a magic themed deck, and I'm not just talking about the girl that can throw you into limbo.
Yeah,
it's going to be an interesting season. So anyway, go ahead.
Well, Jesse, I don't want to rain on your magical parade, but I'd like to go back to something you said there. So on the last turn, you do all this. And what do you get from Nicholas Scratch? A 1/6.
I mean, he's a 1/6. He's been out there. He's hanging out. Now, mind you, you could be playing other skill cards as well. Agamotto's drop. You've got Agamotto, Merlin, and
I'd rather
Nicholas
just use Zero War Machine and bring out Ebony Maw.
Okay. All right.
But Jesse, I have used Nicholas Scratch.
Oh.
Because I got Nicholas Scratch.
Oh, did you now?
I was like, oh, hey, there's new cards. Jennifer Kale, she seems useful. I don't even know Nicholas Scratch like he's a sorcerer. I thought he was the devil at one point. He's Agatha's son. I don't know. His beard looks kind of weird. Maybe I'm just jealous of the beard. I got a 50-50 shot. I'm going to get Nicholas Scratch, aren't I? Not only do I have Nicholas Scratch, but I can't get Morgan Le Fay yet. If I do a random seasonal series 5-pack, I'm going to get Esme or Prodigy. But those aren't bad. I'd rather have them than Nicholas Scratch. Now, once I realized there are other cards out there, the first place I put him, I was like, I'm going to make this work. Let's not go on the podcast and bash Nicholas Scratch and then find out that he could get me to infinite or close to it. So I tried him out mainly in my Islands in the Stream deck because I put Agamotto in there. His cards don't stick around, so you can play them wherever and still keep 1 card in that space. That's where I used him. And when Werewolf by Night kept getting in my way with Sinister London, I went ahead and put Nicholas Scratch in there. Because even though I'm a little down on him, if you're playing Agamotto or Merlin, why wouldn't you put Nicholas Scratch in there? The answer for my Axe of Vengeance deck is because it works just fine without him. But if you're building a deck around those guys or playing on them, it's like, why wouldn't you want him in there unless there's a 1 cost that does a specific thing you need it to do? I know I mocked the 1/6, but even a 1/3, even a 1/4, 1/5, that's better than a lot of one costs you get.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry about if somebody plays there, like with Nebula, or, leaving power on the board to boost Sunspot up, but that can also trigger their Red Hulk. So he's not that bad. He's a character that didn't appeal to me. I would have rather had Jennifer Kale or Morgan Le Fay, but really I have no one to blame but myself. So I should, give Nicholas Scratch another chance and not let him I was trying to do something with irritate and itch, but it's just not coming. I can't even make a good Nicholas scratch. So let's just move on to Jennifer Kale. We'll just scratch that one and move on.
There you go.
There we go. Pulled it out in the nick of time.
Now they just keep coming. I did want to say, to your point, one of his downgrades is one thing that we always talk about. These one-costers have that Killmonger glass jaw. And he, I got him up to a 1-6. I got him up to a 1-7. And here comes Killmonger or something like that. Hopefully by the time he gets there, Killmonger's already been played. But if that's the case, then Nicholas Scratch is dead. All right, next up, Jennifer Kale, 2 cost, 2 power, activate. Next turn, you get +1 energy. And my comment is kind of based off of what yours was. So why don't you go ahead and read yours first?
Oh, I said she's Psylocke when you need her. Because sometimes, Psylocke, again, I see a lot of people who don't play anything till turn 3, but I always hate to waste that turn 1 or turn 2. Sometimes I'll play Psylocke. Now, if you have Psylocke on turn 2, you can get Wong or Mr. Negative on turn 3 instead of turn 4. Usually the earlier you get those cards out there, the better. I think Psylocke still has her place, but there's also been times where I was like, man, I could use Psylocke later, but by then I'm wanting to play later cards. So I think Jennifer Kale serves kind of a different need.
Yeah. So Psylocke, is she a 2-3?
She's a 2-2 as well.
Then, I was thinking maybe Psylocke needs to get a buff then, in my opinion.
But like I said, Jennifer Kale will not replace her in those decks where, like, in a negative deck.
Right.
Because you can't get her until you'd have 4 anyway. So I think they serve different needs.
Okay. All right. Next up, the Ancient One, 3 cost, 5 power. On reveal, add Tal Mandala to your hand and eat it.
He was a one-hit wonder back in the early 90s, right?
Tal Mandala.
Yeah.
Who are you thinking of? I don't know. Tal Mandala, 3 cost, 0 power. This is a skill card. Tal Mandala, play it on reveal. Copy the text of one of your ongoing cards here onto your other characters here. So I misread that. One of your ongoing cards here onto your other characters here. So my thought was Sera, as long as you got a turn 7.
Yeah.
So you're going to have, at the bet that this could happen is you have 2 cards in front of Sera. And then you got a 4th space there. You can lay out Tal Mandala. And then, so this is going on a Surfer deck, right?
Definitely could be. Or with Iron Man, start doubling everybody up, instant onslaught.
Can't complain about that.
Or maybe I'm just not seeing all the possibilities because this is the MCU version of the Ancient One. So it's like Tilda Swinton, right?
Okay.
Yeah, so maybe I'm just not getting it because she's so high EII above me.
Copyright strike. Copyright strike.
I didn't actually sing it. I just referenced the song, man. I can't hit that falsetto.
What are your thoughts?
My initial thought was teaming her with Iron Man and Ravonna.
Yeah, I heard you say
let you play the Tau for 2 instead of 3. So you just like in Tales of Suspense 92.
That's perfect.
But yeah, that was my initial thought. But yeah, Sera would definitely be a good, perhaps even better use.
Dude, she's 3 cost, 5 power. You put the Ancient One out there, you got another 3 cost out there, and then you're able to play Sera. Then you get Tal Mandala out there on turn 6 and turn 7. It is free to go nuts with whatever's in your hand at that point. If you've got a Surfer deck, she only reduces them down to 1. She can't go past 1. She can't go down to, can't get them down to 0. But yeah, dude, if you've got 6 cards in your hand ready to go and it's a Surfer deck, you could probably unleash some heck that last turn.
Here's another one. I'll put her and Sera in an Erisham deck. Then you don't have to get magic, but you're not guaranteed of drawing both or either of them. That could be fun. The other thing is if you're going to have a lot of cards to play, you want to clear some space. So maybe use Carnage, Venom, or Deathlock. And then hopefully Null can be one of those cards. If you've destroyed a lot of them, then you got room to play more.
I like it.
Maybe with Loki, if you've already got Ancient One and Sera in your hand, then you play Loki, so you've got a full deck of cards that are already -1. Yeah, that could be interesting.
Yeah, it would. Man, oh man. All right. We're still going through the cards here, folks. And we still have 7 more cards to go. I said 18. I forgot about the other 2 we didn't have on the list.
Oh, yeah.
Next up, Cobra, 2 cost, 3 power, activate, destroy an enemy created card here. This seems very specific, but then I thought Master Mold would be fun. Now you got to hope that they play one of those Sentinels on your lane. Yeah. But yeah, that's kind of what I was going with. Cobra is really specific. I don't know if I'm going to be springing for Cobra or not. You got any thoughts?
I think he's a prize in the altered high voltage event they're going to be doing.
Oh, that's right. We got high voltage coming up.
But they're doing some kind of change to it. Now, I was thinking it was destroying an enemy created card on the other side.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about across your lane, right? So I lay down Cobra and then I activate it. And if there's a created card on my side that the enemy created and sent to me,
I think it will be either, because there's so many cards that rely on created cards and give you bonuses. So like you would destroy one of their Brood or their Mr. Sinister.
That's what I was saying. Yeah, and I said Master Mold because Master Mold puts 2 Sentinels into their hand.
Right.
They're going to lay down the Sentinel somewhere. Hopefully it's on that lane and you can go ahead and, destroy it. Yeah. Better not have Cobra out there too early or they're just going to completely avoid that lane with Sentinels anyway. That's why I don't like this card. There's too much where the opponent can avoid even getting impacted in any way.
It seems like there's a lot more cards that have effects or create cards. So
that's fair.
If it works on either side, it could clear out a rock from debris. Maybe.
Yeah, right. I get that too, where it could clear out stuff on my lane, which I'm perfectly fine with.
I'm not 100% sure it would do that.
Well, it's an enemy created, I think, because it says enemy created card here. So I assume it just means anything that's created by the enemy in that lane.
But then would it work on Master Mold because you created the Sentinels if you play Master Mold?
Shoot. You might be right. Well, wait a second. So maybe my Sentinels don't count, but then when those Sentinels create Sentinels and they lay those Sentinels out, those would be created by the enemy?
Or what I was thinking is he would be a problem for Erisham because half the cards in your deck.
Yeah, he'd be a big problem for Erisham.
Just like in the comics, just like in Eternals number 73, when Cobra was like, "Hey, you Celestials, get off my planet."
That was a great run.
Who wrote that?
Who wrote
play with Gorgon and just make him regret creating any cards. It costs 1 more. You finally get it down. Cobra destroy.
That's too specific of a freaking ability. I don't want Cobra.
You didn't like Gorgon.
I did not like Gorgon. I thought Gorgon was.
And everybody, nobody uses him, but I still like him.
Did you have any other thoughts on Cobra?
With Strange Supreme gobbling up all the created cards, you can mess him up too. I think created cards have become a bigger and bigger thing, and Cobra and Gorgon are here to take them down.
That's a fair point, because we're going to have more that actually create cards here in a second. Specifically, those skill cards that change them, like that one with Merlin and another one that's upcoming. So, yeah. All right. Kid Omega, 2 cost, 1 power. Activate, destroy the next card you play this turn to gain its power. I kind of like that. I wrote down here the Hood, which was a stupid thing to write.
But you know who would work well with the Hood or actually against the Hood?
Tell me.
Cobra. So he'd destroy the demon.
Yeah. You know what? Really, that's a good... The problem is they've got to beat... Well, the demon would probably come out. You've got to be smart where you lay Cobra. Not the other way around. Don't lay it out too early so they know how to avoid it. You be smart with Cobra. You're like, okay, so that's going to be a weapon. I'm talking myself into Cobra a little bit more.
Or put Cobra where you don't want them to play cards.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I mean, a lot of these, it's like you're trying to avoid it.
So Kid Omega.
Tell you what, you get Cobra, and I will trade you Nicholas Scratch for him.
Kid Omega's got a cool power. I didn't think it was very cool at first, but now that I read that it's activate and you play it the next turn, like that's actually pretty cool. I'm all right with that.
Well, and I mean, you love destroy cards.
Oh, yeah, it's my favorite. What are you thinking here?
He would work well with Wolverine, and for once, this is not a made-up team-up. They were enemies, adversaries, and then frenemies, and now they kind of get along. Kid Omega is so special to Wolverine now that he's one of the people Sabretooth butchered and tortured for like 38 issues at the end of the Krakoa era, because that's what we all want to read, is X-Men torture porn. But anyway, no, Kid Omega started out as a villain in Morrison's run, and they've slowly turned him into a good guy. He's the subject of one of my all-time favorite comic covers, which is Wolverine and the X-Men. Wolverine was the headmaster of the school, and Kid Omega has graffitied a bathroom wall with, "Remember when Wolverine was cool? Me neither."
Oh,
so yeah, and maybe you could go well with the Phoenix Force, because you pick when you destroy a card, and just another varied option for destroy. Looking forward to trying him out.
Nightmare, 3 cost, -1, -1 power. Replace the text of each card in your hand with the text from a random card of the same cost. This is like the ultimate chaos card. This is the one that's just like, hey, you know what? Whatever you put your deck together with, just go ahead and throw it out the window. Now, I'm sure there's probably some way to work it into a strategy of some sort, but it will be fun to see.
And Pixie, that way nobody will know what's happening.
I know.
Here's my 1 cost 10 power card that reverses the power and energy of every card in the deck. Sure, why not?
I'm looking forward to this one. I believe this will be the one. And this is the son of...
This is the one that I was like, oh, that's the card I can skip this season.
Two opposite ends.
Nightmare is the cousin of Despair.
Nightmare was the one that was in Claws and Webs, which was Venom and Wolverine. Sam Keith, Marvel Comics Presents.
And Nightmare is always presented as this big, scary, threatening dude. I mean, I've seen him take on the Avengers, but I've also seen him beaten by Jean Grey solo before she was, or when she was not the Phoenix. Pretty sure the Hulk fought off him and Despair, but that was because it was in his mind or whatever. Fantastic issue of Squirrel Girl where she took him down, and that's absolutely nothing to be ashamed of, to lose to Squirrel Girl. But yeah, Nightmare is like presented as this big threat, but is also like almost the wrecking crew of the mystical set. Everybody gets to beat Nightmare at some point.
Yeah, Claws and Webs ended pretty interesting. I think Wolverine's just like, no, I'm not going to be tortured mentally by you anymore. He stood up, and Professor X said, yeah, go away, Nightmare. And that was the end of that. Okay, Dormammu, 7 cost, 11 power. Game start. Begin a summoning ritual. Add step 1 to hand. All right, here we go. This is going to be some mechanics. Summoning ritual.
I still could not find the numbers on Snap Zone. The images don't appear, so I don't know how they work. Or I assume you get summoning ritual 2 after you play summoning ritual 1.
So here's my thoughts. You get the summoning ritual 1. All right. Now you lay out Ritual 1, it on reveals, merge your highest power destroyed card with Dormammu to continue. So in order to get that next card, that thing has to happen. So I assume if you play it and it's not there, you don't get the next card.
I don't know.
That's my assumption. Or maybe
I think you're right.
Or maybe you can't play it at all until it blanks itself out.
A lot of unreveals, you can play them even if they don't. You can play Spider-Man and he jumps even if he doesn't have anybody to take with him.
But the thing is, you have to have a destroyed card in order to summon, in order to complete that ritual.
Yeah, it seems like it. I mean,
yeah. So now you've got Ritual 1 done. You've merged your highest power destroyed card with Dormammu. You get the next one in your hand. The next one. On reveal, Dormammu steals 1 power from each card here to continue. Sounds great. Pretty easy to do. I assume that if you can't steal 1 power from a bunch of people, I'm sure it just doesn't go away. Yeah. Step 3, on reveal, destroy 2 of your characters here to summon Dormammu. This is a situation where you have to have these cards destroyed. You have to pay the price in order to get Dormammu there. Yeah. So that's my thoughts. I think it's something where you have to be able to complete these things in order to move on to the next. That's a ritual.
By summoning Dormammu, does that mean he goes to that location, or are you just able to play him?
No, if he just goes into your hand, that's stupid. This is a situation where you get him out there because you've cost yourself so much by that point. You've destroyed 2 of your characters. I don't understand how So Dormammu's got to be in your hand at that time, because the first ritual is merging the highest power destroyed card into Dormammu. And if he's not there, or maybe he is off doing something else and you never get Dormammu, but you watch him pop up like Red Hulk and go sucks in the other guy and then goes.
Or if he's in your hand, you just play Summoning Ritual 1 to boost his power and then use Magic, Arishem, or Electro and get him out that way.
Right. And then that makes a little bit more sense to me.
You're trying to do the ritual and I've come to bargain.
Doctor Strange, ladies and gentlemen.
It will be fun to make this work.
Yeah, I could see, like, okay, you doing all that. Anyway,
I'm assuming that the summoning rituals are skill cards.
Yes.
So, Jesse, you work all that out, and you can have a 1/5 Nicholas Scratch.
You forgot about Merlin I've had in there. Then again, I don't know. And you said you don't know about these costs, which they may not cost anything. I don't know.
I haven't seen them yet. They're probably on there.
The cost essentially is the on reveal, like you losing cards that are out there.
Even if it has a 0, it's got to have something so it'll fit into the game.
Okay.
So
Dormammu. Now we're closing on the end here. Dormammu, which of these cards is he going to be part of the season, or is he going to be a high voltage guy?
I think he's part of the season. Okay. Kid Omega and Cobra are the high voltage prizes.
All right. Clea, 1 cost, 2 power. When this permanently gains power, add Flames of the Flatline to your hand.
The 14.
Oh! Today.
I should have just seen how long we could have kept that going.
I was June 4th, 2025, 10:41 p.m. years old when I realized that was faultine, and I've been calling it the Flatline ever since. When this permanently gains power, add Flames of the Faultine to your hand, if in hand or in play. Flames of the Faultine. We don't know what the cost of power is. On reveal, afflict an enemy card here with -2 power. So Clea's going to be, 1 cost, 2 power. She's not a whole lot, but, she's going to be nice to have in a 1 cost deck or something like that. 1 cost warrior and able to afflict -2. I don't know. It's definitely kind of tough to go from Dormammu to Clea, but I'm sure she'll do something. And that's about all I can say. What are you thinking?
Yeah, she's another cheap card to boost your buddy Nicholas Scratch. When this card permanently gains power, there's a couple different ways to do it. You could boost her up like you boost any card up, but then she gives you Flames of the Faultine. I could see this being useful.
All right. Now, let's get into these other cards. All right. 4 cards left. Here we go. First up, 5 cost, 8 power, Hellion. On reveal, next turn, you can move cards to this location.
So he's like a more powerful Cloak.
Yeah, and it's,
Which
it's
is
only
a shame
you.
because I'd rather hang out with Cloak.
It's only you, and it's turn 5, which is pretty late. But, hey, you can jostle some people around if you want to. And that's a nice little addition. Heimdall-esque. And then we have Mercury, 2 cost, 2 power. You can move this once. Ongoing. Enemy cards here can't move.
Yeah, so that'll mess up a few people.
Yeah, for sure.
We're going to put it right next to Cap Shield.
I'll just move this over here, and nobody's going anywhere.
No, Batroc, you stay and hang out with me. Said no one ever. I accept that one lady.
I can't leap. I accept that one lady. I know exactly what lady you are talking about. That's it. We already talked about Nicholas Scratch, so I think we've covered everything. My goodness. So these
did I tell you that I'm not very excited about Nicholas Scratch? I'm not sure if I conveyed that.
Next season. Well, Jesse, I got to Infinite, and let me tell you why.
My Nicholas Scratch deck. Nicholas Scratch, Agent Venom, and Sebastian Shaw. The dream team.
Oh, man. Scratch
and Hellion for a good measure. That kid's going to be a Black King of the Hellfire Club someday, I tell you.
So Hellion, Jennifer, Kale, Mercury, and Nicholas Scratch are all available right now. Series 4 cards. You can get them if you want them. Or at least take a shot at them, depending on how many tokens you have. But those are 20. I still have, man, sitting in mine, I still have Fan Fei. So I'd like to kind of grab those. All right, buddy. We are finally closing in on the end of this thing. We got 2 locations to talk about. The first one, Camelot, after turn 5, set all cards here to 5 power. So
that's what it says.
Yeah, I went to the dev video and I was like, surely they're talking about locations. They just throw a big old screen up that says, here's what they are. But it's 5 power. So everything there goes to 5 power, which...
Okay. Well, my notes are useless.
C5 deck all the way, baby. It's time to go. But that's kind of really all I have.
Oh, here's what you do, Jesse.
Tell me.
You get Legion and Marvel Boy.
That's all you need.
Then there will still be a turn 6.
You got a turn 6.
Yeah, but
you lay out every 1 cost card. 1 cost is going to be Invite and Killmonger, but you lay out a bunch of 1 costers, and then you Legion on turn 5. Nobody's getting destroyed, and then out comes Cerebro and Mystique turn 6. And
or Marvel Boy with all your 1 costs, and you could use Black Swan. It seems like a very complex, very specific deck that will be useful for one day and then never again.
And never again. Delete right afterwards. All right. And then second location that'll be popping up this season, the Astral Plane. After this turn, add a 0 power copy of a card from your hand here. So that's big. I said 0 power. It's 0 power, not 0 cost. So I looked at this and thought that was 0 cost. Now I'm like, oh, well, crap. No, it's 0 power. So it's copying a card from your hand. So really, it's just going to be taking up space, but you better hope your on reveal's good.
Or your ongoing.
Sure,
but this might be a place where Marvel's foremost defender of the astral plane could truly shine. Because when Nightmare or Cobweb or Onslaught or Celine is messing with my mind, I'm calling the original hero for hire, Luke Cage.
Luke Cage, here he comes.
Hey, nothing to do with the astral plane, but if it's a 0 power copy, then maybe Luke Cage restores that power.
Yeah.
Again, not so much like, it's astral plane time. I'm going to make sure that whatever card gets pulled out has its power. But, more like if Luke Cage is in your deck, you won't be so disappointed when astral plane shows up.
Right. Well, I look forward to seeing it. Sounds like a good time. So there we go, Evan Bevins. My goodness. We went through our unlocks. We went through our first season, the new X-Men. We now have the Masters of the Arcane. Let's go ahead and close up shop here. Why don't you let the people know where they can find you, sir?
If you like my ideas but hate the sound of my voice, check out asterisk51.blogspot.com, where I write about comics, movies, comics about movies, movies about comics, other random stuff that strikes my fancy, but usually somewhat movie or comic related. I've gone through the entire 25-issue run of Secret Defenders, as well as all 12 issues of NFL Super Pro, and all the times we imagined Stan Lee creating the DC Universe. I've also gone back in time a little bit with some comics tying into Marvel's current One World Under Doom crossover, with the first time Doom took over the world and the last time Doom assembled his own team of Avengers, which are both interesting and bizarre comics. So check out asterisk51.blogspot.com.
For myself, ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to the Snap Material Podcast on the Source Material Comics feed. We do multiple episodes in that month on the season that just passed, upcoming season. We got top 5s. We've got tier lists. We have all sorts of fun stuff that we do. So go back in the archive and check that out. Don't forget to check out, if you dig comic books, I got a couple podcasts there as well. We have the Unspoken Issues comic book podcast where we talk about 90s comics exclusively. We're getting ready for Gimmick Cover Summer. Cover Summer. That's right. Wildcats number 2, I think, is going to be what we debut first. And then we will be talking about Wolverine 50. We got another poll out there, I think, and more episodes to come. That's for sure. This past Monday was Round Robin, the Sidekick's Revenge. I don't know what I'm doing. Round Robin, the Sidekick's Revenge was Unspoken Issues this past Monday. Previous to that was me and Mark Radulich finalizing our discussion on the Sons of Anarchy comics, where we discussed the final part of the Sons of Anarchy Redwood original, which was the 10 year prequel to the Sons of Anarchy TV series. You go back in time 10 years, you can see Jax and Opie making the decision to become part of the club. I enjoyed myself. Me and Mark had a good time talking about it. All right, we're getting out of here. That's Evan Bevins. I'm Jesse Starcher. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you next month. Have a good one.